It was from here that Schramm and Walter took their orders. This was the lair of Erich Mielke, East Germany's intelligence czar.
He was someone who was keeping tabs on everybody, and he was also killing people from here, or issuing the orders to have them liquidated, as they say.
Chief of the Stasi for almost the entire 40-year existence of the GDR, from these officers he ran a surveillance agency acknowledged the world round as second to none.
They were the best. This was, as far as anyone can tell, the most thorough surveillance on Earth. 1 in 6 people was informing on their colleagues and friends and neighbours and family.
The Stasi went to extraordinary lengths to spy on just about everyone in East Germany. An extensive filing system, kept with a manic thoroughness, allowed no detail to go unrecorded. Some of the Stasi's methods might have been laughable had the consequences not been so dire. Cameras concealed in birdhouses, in neckties, and in wooden logs.
They made a science of it. They were perfectionising methods of controlling people. And in the beginning, it was the usual methods of imprisoning people or breaking their arms or legs. But later on in the 70s and 80s, it became much more sophisticated, and the main methods of repression were what they so beautifully termed the psychological destruction of a soul. They would destroy one's reputation in the workplace by spreading rumours, having agents spread rumours, or ruin a marriage in the same fashion. Incarcerate someone as mentally ill and keep them on doses of drugs and so on. These are not people who didn't know what they were doing. They were writing doctoral theses on how to destroy a soul.
It's going, and I'm going to open my door, and I'm filming what is going on. You're not coming in.
Fine.
No,
I
you're not coming.
You
no.
need to come out then.
You're not. Okay. What are you doing?
You need to come out.
What are you doing?
This time you're under arrest.
For
Okay.
what?
About in the course of justice.
What course of justice?
Do not resist us. Do not resist us.
Rely on it in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence.
Ow!
My
Okay,
assistant
look,
put your...
this
Right,
is-
let go.
Hands behind your back. Leave.
We're in a police state. We're literally in a police state. We have no rights anymore. We're going to walk this way because I need to get away from this place. Oh my God. I'm in a lot of pain because of what they did this morning.
Did they hurt you?
Oh my God.
But first off, it's not about the reason we thought. Up this way, up here. Oh, no, yeah, this is the way I came out.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Are you all right coming up
Yeah,
here?
sorry. Alright, so yeah, no, it wasn't good. I did on my YouTube, I did 4 months ago, my encounter with a guy in a car park, and he accused me, sorry, I said have a gay day, he accused me of homophobic hate crime.
Homophobic hate
And
crime.
he actually came at me.
That's what Amy got done for.
He came at me aggressively, right into my face. I asked him to stand back. He came forward and put his finger in my face, so I just had to push him back from me. And I got charged with assault.
Watch this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Will you just turn off
Yes.
your live feed?
Can you get me a solicitor?
Just turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I just said?
So can you explain it again?
First insufficient causing a breach of the peace.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, officer?
One question, subject you may
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Told that the police
Not at all, he's never said that.
George, that's the information I've got.
I'm inciting people. I'm inciting
Through
people.
his video and
How have I incited
he
people?
hasn't.
This is free speech. This is where we're at. You're not even allowed to. Look at this.
Look how many people.
No matter what you try and hide. Do you know when you do this? More people.
These are normal working men.
More people.
Really sharp things or lights.
Just let
them do this.
More people are going to watch this now than ever. This is ridiculous, lads. Do you feel right what you're doing it? I haven't said a word. In fact, someone laid their hand and assaulted me outside court.
Yeah, exactly.
Other people swore at me and threatened me about my mother, and here I am being arrested for saying nothing.
I'm threatened to behead
I've done
me.
nothing.
You've not said anything about
What are you arresting you for, Tommy?
Breach of the peace. Apparently, I'm inciting on my video. Can you please, George, get me a solicitor?
Yeah.
Because I'm on a suspended sentence, you see. So
He has actually done nothing wrong.
You can sort anything like that.
All it would take is for you to go through his video and see he's not. He's even said they're innocent until they're proven guilty.
Now, I've done a lot of podcasts in the last 6 months on the principles of English law, which I regard as being extremely important, which are being circumnavigated almost now on a weekly basis. Now, most of the principles of English law are governed by statute, but there are a couple which are governed by tradition. One is the great comment that was made in the 1930s that law should be that which is deemed to be fair by the man on the Clapham omnibus. Deemed to be fair, natural justice, if you will. And of course, the other one is not only must justice be done, justice must be seen to be done. Now, the thing that makes me worried about this Tommy Robinson business, and I've never met the fellow, and I don't know anything about the case, but that's the point. It appears he's been sent to prison for 13 months, and I don't know anything about the case. I don't know what the legal implications are. I don't know what the offence was. I don't know anything about it at all. All I know is what I've seen on social media. And it didn't look to me like he'd done anything wrong, but I don't know. I don't know. And neither do you. So what I'm suggesting is, what is really, really wrong is the judge actually closing down any press comment on this. So the country doesn't know whether Tommy Robinson deserves to go to prison or not. We don't know. How can we make our own judgment on whether justice has been seen to be done, or whether natural justice has been done? And moreover, there is a caveat, is there not, that we have had one man sent to prison for putting a piece of bacon outside a mosque. He was given a year's sentence. It was only about 3 weeks before he was murdered. And another one came a little bit after that, and it was only about a week before he was attacked. Now, what bothers me is, I think we all know, and a lot of my friends in both the police and the prison service tell me that there are some prisons which are run by the inmates, a significant number of whom are natural enemies of Tommy Robinson, whether indeed he is safe or not. And I suspect that he isn't. All these things we don't know, all these things as citizens in a free society, we should be able to make our own judgments on. But we can't, because they've closed down any press freedom on this. I'm 68 years old, you know. I'm just wondering where this country's going. I'm honestly wondering where this country's going, because it seems to me we're going back to sort of the East Germany of the Soviet Union.
We need to have a conversation about free speech. Some viewers may find this offensive. That's the point. This guy who trades in the name of Count Dankula on YouTube, real name Mark Meechan, 30-year-old from Scotland, trained his girlfriend's dog, her pug, to do a Nazi salute, and took that even further on the command of Sieg Heil and gas the Jews. Those were his words that he used in this video, which went viral and got 3 million YouTube hits. Now, was it funny? Does he have the right to offend? Was it racist? Lawmakers yesterday declared not. They found him guilty of grossly offensive and racist behaviour, and he could face jail, which he is prepared to do. Now, in the context, because context is everything surely, in the context of that, his girlfriend's pug taking the mickey, was he actually advocating the Holocaust? Of course he was not. Now, Ricky Gervais, who is a great defender of free speech, has come out, and interestingly so has David Baddiel, the well-known Jewish comedian, saying he's got every right to be offensive. What's the problem? Now, Tommy Robinson, the former leader of the EDL, was in court defending him and interviewed him yesterday. Tommy Robinson was at the Speaker's Corner on Sunday, where he was attacked for reading out a speech on Speaker's Corner, which is the very bastion of freedom of speech, reading out a speech by Martin Salner, a political activist from the continent who's opposed to radical Islam, who was not allowed into the UK. Robinson read out his speech. We're in a situation where free speech is in great peril in this country, and we must stand up to it. You might find this offensive. We have the right to be offensive, surely.
Okay.
This year there have been multiple examples of why the police force is no longer fit for purpose. Wiltshire Police decided to threaten Twitter users by saying, "You can't hide from us if you're spewing abuse from behind your computer screen. Our boys and girls in blue will find you. Hashtag 999 watch your emergency. Hashtag 999 like tweets are a emergency. Are you for real? Wiltshire must be really safe if the police have so much time on their hands, right? Oh, and look at that. Look at that grammar. It's your, as in you're not worth your salaries." The tweet was in response to a TV series called 999 Wash Your Emergency. The show focuses on hate crimes and racially aggravated assaults throughout Wiltshire. And in typical Channel 4 style, they told us how Brexit was to blame, of course. Their tweet wasn't popular either. Wiltshire Police was inundated with negative tweets, with users asking how many FGM convictions they've made lately. They've made no arrests, no convictions. They're concentrating on tweets, yeah? And why they can spend so much time scouring the internet for mean tweets, but they can't send any officers to businesses to arrest shoplifters. The police are rattled too. On July the 25th, they responded to the public's outrage by saying that they will not tolerate any form of abuse, and how they're now reviewing the posts people have made and will consider any criminal offences which might have been committed. Is this entrapment? At least it's very cruel and manipulative. Why the hell are the police making this their focus? What is that all about? And by the way, this is the same police force that arrested Paul Weston back in 2014. He publicly quoted the words of Sir Winston Churchill.
"Individual Muslims may show splendid qualities, but the influence of the Islamic religion paralyses the social development of those who follow it."
Wiltshire police arrested him and charged him with incitement of racial hatred for quoting Churchill. For quoting Churchill, he gets arrested. This is our police force.
Police have been caught on camera mistreating a disabled 85-year-old woman at a peaceful fracking protest.
Let's get the chair here.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You mean to tell me you came out of the house this morning to drag an 85-year-old woman across the road? So there's no way that you could have an officer on her legs, lifting her legs up?
You will next time, yeah.
You will next time. You will next time you drag the 85-year-old, yeah.
Police released a statement insisting no complaint has been received over the incident. However, the pensioner says her shoulders were bruised and she was so traumatised she says she's struggling to sleep ever since. There's also a big backlash online against the officers. An anti-fracking campaigner and member of Britain's Green Party hit out at the police brutality.
Similar to the issue of police brutality in the USA, police must do their jobs to keep us safe. But was a disabled woman that much of a threat?
Awful to see Anne being dragged like a rag doll over the road by police, but they will move her more carefully next time. Words fail.
Put people in a uniform, give them some authority, cut them some slack, and you can quite easily create a monster.
Police swoop in on garden party where song mocking the death of Osama bin Laden was played. This happened over in the UK. The Force helicopter and 10 officers were sent to a home in Hydean Road, Cherry Hinton, after a complaint from members of the public that the music was too loud and people were allegedly shouting anti-Islamic abuse. Initially, one officer was sent to the street at about 10 p.m. on Thursday, May 25th, but more arrived, and the Force helicopter was deployed when the officer called in for backup. Partygoers claim the officer took offense at the song mocking dead terrorist Osama bin Laden being played and called in reinforcements after pressing her panic button. The infamous Bin Laden song is a parody music video which uses the death of a terrorist as a reference for jokes about sex and the military. Mark Donovan, who was at the party, was furious and denied that anyone at the party had made racist comments. He said, "We were having a summer's evening in my neighbor's garden as we don't have one. We had our karaoke machine on, playing music through our phones from YouTube, which are all approved songs. It was about 10 p.m. and the music may have been a little loud, but it was before 11. Someone must have made a complaint and a police officer who attended our address at what time a song from YouTube called the Bin Laden song came on. The police officer said she took offense at the song and pressed her panic button on her body cam, and that's when about 10 police turned up and the police helicopter. They are now investigating this as a racist crime. It's ridiculous. A phone and a karaoke machine were seized. No arrests were made, and the investigation is ongoing."
We're not out there to break any laws or anything. We want to abide by the law, and, there isn't any law against saying that them things are sins, There isn't any law against it.
What have you been saying, homophobic-wise?
Well, homophobia is hatred towards homosexuals. That's the definition of homophobia, but I'm not a homophobia. I spoke to your officer earlier, and he was upset that I was saying homosexuality was a sin, which is what the Bible says, and I affirm that's what I say because that's in the Bible, And there's no law. There's no law.
Well, there is.
No, it isn't.
There is. Unfortunately, mate, it's breaching the second part.
You're offending people. It actually isn't.
So it's
we wouldn't do that if it was against the law, Right. Lord Kerry, the guy who passed that law in the House of Parliament recently.
Yes, the free to a degree, but actually, I certainly didn't. This is I certainly never mentioned homosexuality.
Yeah, we never said you are. The only time I mentioned it was when I was talking to this gentleman here.
Yeah.
When I was up on the step preaching, I didn't mention it then. But even so, it still is not against the law. There's a clause. It isn't. But what about
we're pretty straight. You're under arrest for racially aggravated Section 5 public order offence. You don't have to say anything, but remain harm defence. If you don't mention one question, which will later rely in court, and you do say maybe you need evidence.
Fair enough.
Okay.
What do you think about 650 people this year being arrested in the United Kingdom for offensive online posting?
I think it's ridiculous. I think they're trying to tell us how to think, how everything. It's wicked. It's evil. And the man you're talking to here had a hell of an experience in England.
What happened?
Well, if you just look at my phone here, you'll see that my name's Vernon Mussington, and it said entrepreneur hauled into court for a hate crime for saying "all right, geezer." I went to Crown Court a few months ago for saying "all right, geezer."
What?
It's Crown Court, the big court.
Wait, what does "all right, geezer" means? I don't even understand.
In America or in Canada, you say, "Hey, dude, how you doing, dude?
Yeah.
What's up, dude?" Exactly the same as that. So I said, "Hey, dude," to somebody that looked like a man, dressed like a man, and in fact, according to the law, was a man. And I ended up being locked up in the cell all day, and taken to court. I had to go to court twice. I went once in September, and they found me guilty for a hate crime for saying "all right, geezer."
What?
Yep, and they give me £360 fine, 150 hours community service, and a 2-year restraining order.
What?
And because I work with children, and I've invented a sport here in England that's going to be a big sport one day, I thought I had to fight this because they were trying to get me kicked out of home and all this kind of stuff. So I went back to court in February this year, and I won my case, and I got acquitted. But all I said was "all right, geezer," and I ended up in a prison cell, and I ended up in the Crown Court for "all right, geezer," like "all right, dude" in America.
I'm dumpfounded.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How did this situation unfold? Like, were you just walking down the street?
I was standing outside Tesco's in January 2016, and I was speaking to a guy. Me and him were just chatting like we are. And then some guy walked past me who looked like a hippie. You remember Scooby-Doo?
Yes.
He looked like Shaggy. Yeah, he looked like Shaggy. He's going bald on top. He's got hair here. And I said, "All right, geezer," as he was walking past, because I've seen him around. And then he grabbed out his phone, and I can show you the footage. Not now, but I can show you the footage. He said, "How long are you going to call me geezer? How long are you gonna..." He says, "I'm a woman. I've got breasts." And it was evening time anyway. His voice was really deep, man, really deep. You know what I mean? So basically, he was a geezer. And I got taken to court in England for saying, all right, geezer, to a geezer. And one thing I said to the judge, I said, Judge, if this person who is accusing me of misgendering, that's the word they used. Have you heard that word before?
Yes.
Yeah, misgendering. I said, if this person was here for an offence of themselves, what prison would they send this person to? And they said to an all-male prison. They wanted to teach me a lesson, do you know what I mean?
This dispersal order is very disturbing and proves that the government is continually putting structures into place and passing legislation which is designed to silence the people. And they are using the police force to do this. Anyway, let's get back to Sharon Binks' arrest here. And I will make the picture bigger here so that you can see what's happening, so that you can see the police take the glass off Sharon. I think the policeman asked Sharon what was in the glass, had she been drinking alcohol. And, the glass, as we said before, was plastic. And the contents of the glass was lemon and lime. And they took the glass off Sharon. Anyway, Sharon goes to walk away back towards the Football Lads Alliance march, or where that march is going to be. And the police just come running after. One of the policemen comes after her, grabs her arm, then another policeman gets hold of her. And, they really manhandle her into the back of a police car.
Details, I don't want you to record information that he's going to give me, because it's private.
Is he willingly giving the information?
Yes, he is.
Up?
Could I ask you to just move away, please?
I'll move away.
He's going to give me some sensitive information.
All right.
It's not fair for him to have you recording.
It's not fair for you to be withholding him. Excuse me, it's not fair for this to be happening, is it?
Excuse me, I'm
just saying.
No.
This is bullshit.
I'm not. You're under arrest. All right, so what with me?
What, so she's under arrest? What for? Can you see what's going on here? So this is all about removing anyone that's got anything to say.
Anyway, as you can see here, Sharon gives the glass to the policeman and decides to walk away because the other policeman's just got a notepad in his hand. And the policeman runs after her and grabs hold of her by the arm. Another policeman comes over and grabs her by the other arm. This is a total sort of like over-the-top reaction. Grabs her by that arm. And then they proceed to drag this perfectly law-abiding person, decent person, down the curb like she's a common criminal and throw her into the back of a police van. Absolutely over-the-top behaviour. Let's look what happens in the police van.
So I've just been detained for being a bystander in a city square. I've got off the train from Middlesbrough to come to a remembrance march in honour of the people that died. I followed the guys down here, right? I'm standing around watching what's going on. I get arrested for doing nothing. I wasn't videoing, I wasn't causing trouble.
You don't have to do anything.
Does this mean that the dispersal order gives them the right to arrest people for nothing?
Just standing there.
Let me speak, I will explain what we're doing and why we're doing it, okay?
You've arrested me for nothing.
I've arrested you for failing to provide your details upon request.
What did I have to provide my details for standing around in a square?
We have
I haven't done anything wrong.
And evidence that you are associated with this group. Therefore,
what information and intelligence?
The cameras have been watching you.
Once again, this further proves that Red Pill Phil and his two friends, John and Joel, were being targeted by the police and harassed by the police. And it was just unfortunate that Sharon happened to be walking with them for 10 minutes, because that's all she was doing. She just bumped into them and was walking with them for 10 minutes down the road.
I arrived down the road to a meeting point.
What's happening? Okay.
Right, I arrived down the road on my own. Do you want to see my train ticket?
No, I don't.
Right, I saw these guys. I said, "Where are you going? We're having a walk down there. Can I come with you?" Because the guys that were supposed to meet me off the train didn't meet me, right? So I walked down here with them because I've seen them before, right? I've no association with them at all, apart from I've walked down here with
them on camera.
I'm associated.
That's enough for us.
Walking down the street with somebody, having a conversation with somebody is enough to arrest me.
No.
Is enough to arrest me.
That is enough to issue with the Section 35 power.
In my opinion, this is the total abuse of Section 35 dispersal powers. And, if we allow this to carry on like this, it's going to set a precedent so that the police will just use this and sort of serve these powers onto anyone for anything and get away with it.
Okay.
Police brutality. You've twisted my arm, you've nipped my arm. I wasn't resisting. I wasn't waving my arms around. I didn't have a glass in my hand. He took the plastic cup off me.
Well, you can't deny what she said there, can you?
walked down with a lime and soda in it.
I'm not arguing with you.
He took the plastic cover off me. I didn't have a glass in my hand. This is police brutality.
Okay.
It's an abuse of power. All I was doing was standing in the square listening to what was going on when them guys are getting told they're getting to Section 35. You've bullied me. You've bullied me from walking up to me. You've bullied me. Right? You bullied me. You grabbed onto me and you bullied me. No, you grabbed my arm and you bullied me. He took the glass off me before you did that. Right? So you asked me for my name and address, right? And I have done nothing wrong. You have given me a Section 35 for standing in the street. For standing in the street. Can you understand why I resist telling you my name and address when I feel, as a citizen, I've done nothing wrong? No, not if you're in the wrong. Are you following your oath? Are you following your oath? Are you following your oath?
In conclusion, the government are going to get more and more repressive as time unfolds, and more legislation will be passed to silence the people.
They look at the world, they know there's something not right. There's something that's not the way they want it to be, and they feel uneasy about it. But they try to placate those fears, not by facing them, but by trying to find a way of making them disappear with words like, oh no, we would never allow a police state. Not in America, no, never allow a police state. Britain, never allow a police state. Wonder if they said that in Germany just a few decades ago. We'd never allow a dictatorship in Germany. We're a land of freedom. And look what happened. In a few short years, they had a grotesque dictatorship. And that's how fast it can come. From the Weimar Republic to the Nazi dictatorship in Germany by Hitler and company was a few years, not even a few decades. And the greatest weapon of any dictator is to divert attention from the people. So they're looking the other way and allowing the dictatorship to be built and imposed and all the infrastructure put in place. So by the time they absolutely have to face reality, it's all there. It's all done. We are now at the point where those institutions and these institutions of control and surveillance and all the rest of it are now being put in place. So this hidden dictatorship all this time is now coming to the surface where it can be seen. And this gives us an opportunity for people to actually start to do something about what's happening. Because instead of being some far off, sometime over the rainbow, it might come sometime, it's now in our face. The police state is staring us in the eye, and it's getting more and more imposed upon us and more imposed on society every day. The world is headed towards a society, a global society, very much along the lines that was described by George Orwell in his book 1984. I'm almost hesitant to use the phrase, the world is heading, because the world is to a large extent there. It's not a case of whether we are going to allow the world to go into a police state. We already are in one. The question is, how deeply are we going to allow it to happen?
It's that time of the video. If you want to like, share and subscribe, it's totally up to you. I'm not going to try and brainwash you or anything.
Bye, have a beautiful time.